Hi, my name is Nikki Tibbetts, and I'm a teacher for Granville County Schools in North Carolina. I created my presentation on education for women in the United States versus the Middle East. Most of my content is about women and their educational rights, but I do have some information just about education in general. I created this PowerPoint for EDU 6450 at Northeastern University. According to Brodsky, the plight of Afghan women under the Taliban was indeed desperate. They were denied the right to school or work, access health care and other basic services, and restricted in what they wore, who they talked to, and even the circumstances under which they could leave their homes. Also, according to Brodsky, the political strife and related oppression of Afghan women has impeded their advancement in many realms, arguably the most devastating and wide-reaching of which has been in the area of girls' and women's education. I have a few brief comparisons here. Education in the Middle East on the left and education in the United States on the right. If you'll notice on the left side, culture at times dictates what a woman is allowed to do and study, where in the United States a specific career might have a greater focus for women, but it's not decided for her. On the left side, sometimes a younger daughter is drawn out of school to care for her younger siblings. That was taken from an article we read this past semester. Where in the United States, if a student misses too much school, regardless of the issue, the student and parent would be issued a truancy ticket. The school where I teach at, students can miss no more than 10 days a semester before it becomes a much bigger issue. On the left side, women are dropping out and moving to richer areas to support families, where on the right, women are encouraged to continue education in order to find the best career and support a family. On the left side, larger gaps between men and women in most aspects, but especially in education. And on the right, men and women are closer to equal than ever before. Paul Salem, the director of Carnegie Middle East Center in Beirut, argues that without dramatic improvement to all educational levels, unemployment, illiteracy, and income inequality will continue to worsen, and the region will remain a danger to itself and its neighbors. Some argue that women's educational rights and being allowed to go to school is a big issue in itself, where others argue that the lack of education in the curriculum that is being taught to students is also creating a very large problem as other countries advance. So I have some information about that. In the Middle East, Paul Salem also notes that aside from lack of education, curriculum is also a problem. Today's job market demands skills based on problem solving, critical thinking, modern languages, and technology, but Arab educational systems generally remain traditional, rote-based, and authoritarian. Where in the United States is fortunate to have a high demand for critical thinking skills that are implemented within things such as the SAT, the ACT, and what we call in North Carolina end-of-course tests. Students in the United States are provided with a large amount of technology through new one-to-one schools, which is a laptop or a tablet provided to all students. On the left side, the type of learning that is occurring is also preventing development, where in the United States, students are surrounded by a multitude of different languages and different advancements that they are encouraged to become familiar with. The meaning of education in the United States is slightly different. Children are required to attend formal classes, and laws and standardized tests mandate specific content outcomes in specific subjects at specific ages. Where in the Middle East, it focuses not on individual learners or their credentials, but on the need of the organization, society, and their vision for social change. There's also a larger societal goals trumped individual knowledge accumulation, and often meant that members and supporters sacrifice their own higher educational attainment to bring basic education to others. On the left there is a young girl named Malala, who fought for her rights in education in Pakistan. I do a large unit with that on my students, and they enjoy learning about the differences in education and Malala's brave fight for her own rights. How can we make it better? Here are just some facts from the book before I talk about a few things to help make it better. First, it's important to mention that the issues of women's education needs to be improved for a number of different reasons, mostly for those women and for their futures, but also because migration matters. In Koser's article, it's mentioned that if individuals continue to leave their origin country for opportunities, the opportunity in their native land continues to decrease for those that stay there. If women continue to leave the Middle East for opportunities elsewhere, it's hard to improve the current situation of education and rights in their own country. So it's important to improve these situations to improve the living conditions and a lot of other things in their native lands. Also, according to the article by Breacher, Costello, and Smith, Globalization and its Specter, inequality is a huge contradiction of globalization. It's quoted that globalization has contributed to an enormous increase in the concentration of wealth and the growth of poverty both within countries and worldwide. 447 billionaires have wealth greater than the income of the poorest half of humanity. Something that is very hard to fathom by those in the Middle East and most people in general. So is globalization making it better or worse for these women and their education? Another quote from Globalization and its Specter: women have been the prime victims of exploitation and export industries and have suffered the brunt cutbacks in public services and support for basic needs. And immigrants and racial and ethnic minorities in many parts of the world have not only been subject to exploitation, but have been abused as scapegoats for the economic troubles caused by globalization from above. According to Peace's article that I mentioned a few slides back, a way to improve or a way to continue improving, I think, would have the U.S. continue to implement these programs I'm about to mention. So it's quoted, the U.S. has implemented many programs to assist Pakistan in education reform through U.S. aid. These programs have ensured that approximately 900,000 school-aged children attend school, provided school libraries with 100,000 books and other educational materials. They are taught 2,500 basic language skills, contributing to a 10% increase in literacy, supported 34 Pakistan University collaborations, and sponsored 182 Fulbright programs. The USAID also aims to provide universal education to Pakistan by 2015. So the continuation of these programs is the best way to help aid those in the Middle East and help to improve women's and all rights for education. And lastly, and most importantly, awareness of these issues and becoming educated are some of the most important ways to help improve the current situation for these women. And there are my sources. Thank you.